In 2020, more than 540,000 people went missing in the US alone. Thankfully, most of these people are located and returned to their families. But some cases are so mysterious that they continue to baffle experts to this day. Number 5. In 1994, Stephen Robert Asplund was getting ready to marry his fiancée and the love of his life. But before the two could get the chance to walk down the aisle and say "I do," Stephen vanished without a trace. Stephen's case has baffled experts and armchair sleuths alike, and 27 years later, we're still no closer to discovering what happened to Stephen Asplund. On January 9, 1994, 32-year-old Stephen was busy with the remodeling project at his Moline, Illinois home, during which he realized he was missing several tools for the job. Stephen knew he didn't need to buy these tools and that he would be able to borrow them from a friend, so he hopped in his 1987 Ford Mustang and drove to his friend Tim Miner's house on 4th Street and 20th Avenue. The pair briefly chatted, and Miner gave Stephen a caulking gun to borrow. The visit was only brief, and by 7:30 p.m., Stephen left Miner's house and headed back home to finish up his project. But Stephen never made it home. Somewhere along the short drive back to his house, Stephen mysteriously vanished and has never been seen or heard from again. Stephen's fiancée settled in for the night, believing that he would return home during the night or in the morning. By 6 a.m., there was still no sign of Stephen, and his fiancée called the Moline Police Department to file a missing person report. Stephen's fiancée and the police department searched for him, and a few days later, they discovered his car abandoned in a car park at the 13th Street landing at the base of the Interstate 74 bridge in Bettendorf, Iowa. And according to Google Maps, this would have been 2.1 miles away from Moline. In August of that year, Stephen's medical insurance card was found on a railway track at Loud Thunder Forest Preserve in Rock Island County, Illinois, which is around 25 miles away from Moline and 23 miles from where his car was found, depending on which route you take. After this discovery, the river close to the railway line was searched, but police found no sign of Stephen. A forensic examination was conducted on Stephen's car. The Moline Police Department stated that unspecified forensic evidence was recovered, but have said that the tests were inconclusive. Stephen Robert Asplund was last seen on January 9, 1994, at his friend's house at 4th Street and 20th Avenue. At the time of his disappearance, Stephen was 32 years old, and if still alive today, he would be 60. He's described as a white male with blonde hair and blue eyes. He's 6 foot and 180 pounds. He was last seen wearing a Chicago Bears pullover jacket, a white sweatshirt, gray sweatpants, and trainers. If you have any information about Stephen's disappearance, you're urged to contact the Moline Police Department on 309-797-0401 or name us at 682-347-8829. Number 4. 18-year-old Crystal Kipper spent the evening of February 24, 1997, ice skating with a friend. Crystal had driven from her home in Kansas City to St. Joseph, Missouri, to pick up the friend before driving to the rink to enjoy their evening. On the journey home, the low fuel warning light began flashing on Crystal's car, and according to the friend that was with her that night, Crystal refused to stop at a gas station to fill up because her red 1989 Ford Probe XL was always good on gas mileage. This wasn't the first time that Crystal had ignored the light, and according to her family, she had called AAA at least 3 times because her car had run out of gas. At around 2 a.m., Crystal dropped her friend off at home and promised that she would let them know that she had gotten home safely. But that call never came, and Crystal Kipper remained missing to this day. According to eyewitness accounts, between 2:20 a.m. and 2:30 a.m., Crystal was seen on the side of Interstate 29 near the Kansas City airport, flagging down traffic and looking distraught. One truck driver making his way down Interstate 29 noticed that the woman fit Crystal's description, and moments later, the truck driver recalled seeing another car pulling in behind the woman, presumably to offer their assistance. Crystal's friend had fallen asleep waiting for the phone call, and it wasn't until later that morning when Crystal's mother awoke that they realized that something was very wrong. Crystal's mother retraced her steps and found Crystal's car on the side of the road. The hazard lights were on and the battery was low, which matches up to the eyewitness accounts from earlier that day. The local county sheriff's office was notified of the discovery, and Crystal's disappearance, and a missing persons report was filed, and an investigation was launched. Apart from eyewitness accounts and Crystal's car, there was little evidence to work with, and the case remained at a standstill. That was until the end of 1997, when Crystal's family were shocked to hear that a suspect had finally been named in Crystal's case. When the home of John E. Williams was searched for another unrelated crime, authorities found Crystal's ID card, paycheck stub, car keys, and items of her clothing. DNA tests confirmed that these were in fact Crystal's clothes, and Williams quickly confessed that he had accidentally hit her with his car on February 24, 1997. Disturbingly, Williams' car windshield had been repaired on the 24th, which was consistent with his story. If Williams had confessed, where was Crystal? Williams claimed that he had disposed of her remains in an unknown location, as he had panicked and was scared of the implications of what he had done. Williams sent the county sheriff's office on a wild goose chase that ended with them finding nothing. Weeks after Williams' confession, he recanted his statement and denied saying anything of the sort. Before he could be tried in Crystal's case and the other unrelated case, Williams took his own life in his prison cell. Two cellmates told investigators that William had often bragged about the crime against Crystal, but investigators had been unable to recover her remains. 18-year-old Crystal Kipper was last seen on February 24, 1997. She's described as a white female with brown hair and brown eyes, and has a small scar on her right cheek, and is 5'5" and 125 pounds. She was last seen wearing a dark-colored olive mock turtleneck, Lucky Blue brand jeans, a denim coat, a diamond cluster ring, and a gold band. If alive today, Crystal would be 43 years old, and anyone with information is asked to contact the Platte County Sheriff's Department on 816-858-3452, quoting case number 97003-197. Number 3. The mysterious disappearance of Deborah Deanne Poe has been the subject of news articles, podcasts, YouTube videos, and was featured on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Despite all of this media attention and awareness surrounding Deborah's disappearance, her case continues to baffle experts and has become one of the most mysterious disappearances that cannot be explained. On the evening of February 4th, 1990, Deborah was working at her second full-time job at the Circle K convenience store near Hall Road and Aloma Avenue in Orlando, Florida. Deborah lived with a roommate, Lori Tillman, and was working hard to make a better life for herself after graduating from college. Deborah worked the night shift alone 5 days a week at the Circle K, which concerned her boyfriend, Scott Iaggi. Iaggi recalled saying to her, quote, "I told her I thought it was stupid that she was staying there working that shift. There were too many weirdos, too many guys flirting with her, and too many drunks." Before Deborah's mysterious disappearance, there were several instances of harassment and troubling behavior that scared Deborah, leading Scott to stay with her during her shift to help keep her safe. In one instance, a naked man came running into the shop, climbed over the counter, and chased Deborah around the shop until she managed to run outside, run back inside, and then lock him out. Scott Hiaji told investigators that on the night of February 4th, 1990, he went to the Circle K at around 1 a.m. to check up on Deborah, and she assured him that everything was fine. At 3 a.m., a friend went into the shop and confirmed that everything was fine. According to reports, between 3:15 a.m. and 3:30 a.m., a customer went into the Circle K and found a young man between the ages of 19 and 25 standing behind the counter. The man wore a Megadeth t-shirt, a skull ring, and a wire cross earring in his right ear. The customer assumed that he was the clerk and asked him for a packet of cigarettes, to which the mysterious man replied, "You shouldn't smoke, you know." After this bizarre exchange, the customer purchased their cigarettes and left the store. This customer did not recall seeing Deborah in the store and said that the unidentified man was the only person inside. Then at 4 a.m., one of Deborah's regular customers swung by the store and found it empty. This set off alarm bells and the customer called police, sensing that something wasn't quite right. Upon searching the store, the police found a cup of coffee, a carton of chocolate milk, houseplants, and Deborah's smock uniform neatly placed on the counter. There was no sign of a struggle, and no money had been taken from the till. Deborah's car was still outside, with her bag, paycheck, and car keys inside. As no trace of Deborah was found, the Orange County Sheriff's Office brought in sniffer dogs who followed Deborah's scent to the back of the shop, where it abruptly ended. There was renewed hope for Deborah's case in 2002, when the Orange County Sheriff's Office announced that there was a new suspect and that they were conducting searches near the Chapel Hill Baptist Church. The Sheriff's Office has never released the name of the suspect and has also kept very tight-lipped about what, if anything, was found near the church. It's important to note that Deborah's boyfriend at the time, Scott Hiaji, lived across the street from the church and had also been a pastor at that church. According to official records, Scott Hiaji has never been named a suspect in Deborah's case, and to this day, it remains cold. 26-year-old Deborah Deanne Poe was last seen on February 4th, 1990 at the Circle K store near Hall Road and Aloma Avenue in Orlando, Florida. She's described as a white female with blonde streaked hair and blue eyes. She's 5'2" to 5'3" and 100 pounds, and has a burn scar on her left shoulder and wears 3 earrings in each ear. One of Deborah's college friends and ex-roommates, Tanya, wrote a letter to Medium.com saying how close the two were and how special Deborah was. She closes her letter by saying, quote, "If anyone is out there that attended school, wrote letters, or had any phone conversations that might help, it would be greatly appreciated. There are several of us college buddies who still keep in touch that would love to find closure in this matter. She was special." If you have any information, you're asked to contact the Orange County Sheriff's Office at 407-836-3700. Number 2. 19-year-old Heather Dawn Zimmerman was last seen leaving her home in Gifford, Illinois on May 26, 1997. That evening, Heather grabbed a can of drink from the fridge and walked out the front door at around 8:30 p.m., never to be seen again. Her parents told investigators that they believed she was attending a party in a rural part of Rantoul, Illinois, and there are no details as to how she got to the party, if that's where she was going at all. According to the Champaign County Sheriff's Office, Heather was dropped off near her home at around 3 a.m. Her family insists that Heather did not make it into the home that night, and the Champaign County Sheriff's Office later said that it had not been confirmed that Heather was dropped off at 3 a.m. Heather's parents began to worry as she had left all of her belongings at home and failed to make contact with them on May 27, 1997. She didn't have cash or any cards with her on the night of the party, as these had been stolen before she disappeared. For the Champaign County Sheriff's Office, all signs point to foul play. And in 2007, Jamie Harper also mysteriously disappeared from rural Rantoul. The sheriff's office and locals have both noted that the cases share alarming similarities, and that there is apparently a person of interest in both disappearances, although this person has never been publicly identified. Heather's husband is also not considered a person of interest, as at the time of her disappearance, he was stationed in Japan. Heather Dawn Zimmerman was last seen leaving her family home in Gifford, Illinois on May 26, 1997. She is 5'6" and 115 pounds, and has several distinguishing characteristics. Heather is described as a white female with blonde hair and green eyes. She has an ankle tattoo of 3 roses, a mole on her neck, and has 8 piercing holes in her left ear and 6 in her right. The Charlie Project also mentions that Heather has scars on her left arm, left wrist, and index finger, and that her left ring finger doesn't function properly. Heather's family are desperate for information and closure, and anyone with information is asked to contact the Champaign County Sheriff's Office at 217-384-1213. Jamie Harper's case has also remained unsolved, and anyone with information is asked to contact the Paxton Police Department at 217-379-4315 or the Rantoul Police Department at 217-892-2103. Number 1. A mother and grandmother, Beverly Ann Cummings was adored by her family, and on July 18, 1990, they had no idea that in the blink of an eye, their world was about to be turned upside down. There are conflicting reports about the lead up to Beverly's disappearance. Some sources say that she left her children with a babysitter while she went food shopping and went to the post office, while others state that she left the house and told her family she would be back by 9 a.m. to babysit her granddaughter. What we do know is that Beverly left her Federal Way, Washington home, hopped into her brown 1977 Toyota Celica hatchback with the Washington number plate UKM 353, and presumably headed towards the supermarket. 9 a.m. came and went, and when Beverly failed to return home, her family went to the post office and supermarket to find that no one had seen her there. Her family called the King County Sheriff's Office and reported her missing, and for months her case sat cold. That was until Labor Day weekend in September of 1990, when the police were alerted to Beverly's abandoned car on a Forest Service road off Highway 410 in Greenwater, Washington. The residents of Greenwater told investigators that the car had been there since July, and that one man had even used the car to drive around before returning it to the spot. Since this discovery, there have been no more updates in Beverly's case. According to the King County Sheriff's Office, the person who used Beverly's car is not a person of interest, nor are the people in Greenwater who saw her car sitting there for months. Beverly's husband of 35 years, Donald Cummings, told the Seattle Times, quote, "I look inside every car that I drive by. I'm still out there trying to trace down leads, but nobody has heard a thing. I've got to keep hoping she's alive, but I just don't know." Beverly Ann Cummings is described as a white female with brown hair and brown eyes. She has her ears pierced and wears glasses. She was 54 at the time of her disappearance, and if still alive today, she would be 84. If you have any information about the disappearance of Beverly Ann Cummings, you're urged to contact the King County Sheriff's Office at 206-205-7810. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.